All right, guys, second part of our volume of rectangular prisms, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to give you one example problem because it's going to tie in other pieces that we've done. And since we just did volume, base times height times depth, we know that. The other part I'm going to add to it for today's assignment is fractions and decimals. I'm gonna make this one go way back. Boom! Look at that. Okay, it's like a big old thing of butter or something. For here, let's get our measurements on there. We'll keep it simple. 7.5 feet, 3.2 feet, and then this one looks like 6 1/5 feet. Okay. Again, we're tying in lots of things that we know right here. You guys know that for me personally, when we've been in class, when we're using these conversions here between decimals and fractions, I like to get to my decimals really quick. I like to use those. That's what I prefer. So that's just the way I am with that. If you want to use fractions, feel free. To me, that's adding more steps. But again, here's our base. Okay, let's start with our base, 7.5 feet. Our height is 3.2 feet. And then our depth is 6 1/5 feet. Okay. For this, I am changing my fraction to a decimal. And based on what we worked on this year, I'm hoping that you know that 1/5 is going to change to our decimal of 2/10. Okay. The reason we know that, I'll do the shortened version of that, 1/5, and then our next one, if we times that by 2, we get to 2/10. There's our 2/10. Okay. Or we go the long way, 1/5, and then we get to 100. That's going to be times by 20. Then 1 times 20. I know I'm writing this small, but we know it. 1 times 20 is 20. There's 2/100ths. Well, let's get rid of those zeros. We're going to divide by 10. There's 2/10. Hey, we're right back to where we were. So I'm changing my fractions to decimals. That's what I'm comfortable with. You guys all know you can change to fractions if you want. There's 1/2, and then obviously we know this one's 2/10. So there's 3 1/5, 7 1/2, 6 1/5. If you want to do it that way, but I like the decimals. To me, life's a lot easier with that. We're gonna take our base and we're gonna multiply 7 5/10, 7.5, right? Times 3 2/10. Now I should have set up another, so I'll do another one real quick after this. Remember, when we were multiplying, we do not need to line up our decimals. We line up the numbers, okay? So I should have done that. So we'll do another problem real quick after this, and we'll just go through it nice and fast. All right, let's multiply 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 7, 14, plus 1 is 15. Bring down your 0. We've used that. 3 times 5, 15. Again, that one's already up there. 3 times 7, 21, plus 1 is 22. 0, 0, carry your 1, 4, and then 2. Decimal needs to move twice. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, that just got easier. So actually, this will tie into what I want to do anyway. So we end up with 24 right here. So we're going to have our 24, and we're going to multiply that by our depth, which is 6 2/10. Again, there's no decimal here. When we're multiplying with decimals, we are lining up our number. So this is a 2-digit number. 6.2 is a 2-digit number, right? There's 2 numbers there. So we are lining up our numbers to get our answer. Okay, so now actually I just saved you guys an extra problem, didn't I? Because this worked out really well. Okay, don't line up the decimals, line up your numbers. Start right and work left. It's opposite of everything we do, but it's okay. 2 times 8, there's the answer, right? 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. Bring down that 0 because we were done with that one. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 2 is 14. We're going to have 8, 8, 4, and 1. So we have 14 and 88 hundredths. If we move our decimal, got to make sure you do this because you know what's going to happen. You're going to forget to move your decimal, and your answer is going to be 1,488. That's not going to be the answer. We got to move the decimal one time because there's decimal here. No decimal up there. Moves in one time. So our answer is 148 and 8/10 feet. And do we label with squared or cubed? You got it. Cubed. Okay, so we have 148 and 8/10 feet cubed for your answer. So again, we're taking things we know. We know our formula for volume, base times height times depth. This time we're just adding in fractions and decimals with our mixed numbers. And so again, do what's comfortable for you. If you want to change fractions to decimals, or if you want to change decimals to fractions, that is purely up to you. I have a feeling most of you are going to go here because then we don't have to deal with improper fractions and kind of going through that process and getting back through it. There it is. That's the next step in it for today. So there you go, guys. Volume of rectangular prisms with decimal and fraction numbers. There you are.